In recent years, the term representation has seen steadily increasing usage in public discourse. Broadly speaking, representation refers to the belief that the cultural perspective should be shifted away from the white male-centric view of the world to include those who do not have those attributes, namely women and people of non-European descent. Within the South African context, with the ever-looming historical shadow of apartheid and our heavily racialized past and indeed present, there are regular calls for education and society at large to be decolonized. Now, to be clear, no reasonable person, in my view, would try to argue against people of African descent having a greater opportunity to connect with their culture and to learn about the stories and experiences of their ancestors. But it would seem to me that those who cry the most loudly for things like representation and decolonization do so not with the main goal of centralizing African voices and perspectives, but out of spite and a desire to destroy and denigrate what white people have created. Some helpful examples of what I mean would be the negative contemporary opinions of the works of authors like William Shakespeare and more recently Lord of the Rings creator J.R.R. Tolkien. Both these bodies of work have recently and in my view unfairly been labeled relics of a bygone age imagined by old white men who no longer have any relevance in the modern world. Those who make such claims are either ignorant of or willfully choosing not to see the great impact that these works have had on shaping the way modern man interacts with the real world and how we see ourselves as people. Also, it is flatly racist to assume that only people with white skin or who are of European descent can take joy in or appreciate the works of Shakespeare or Tolkien respectively. One need only look at how many times and in how many ways Shakespearean plays have been adapted to understand that the themes they contain are not limited to people of Western descent. These are human archetypes that each of us can relate to in some way, regardless of our race or particular cultural background. I am well aware that the continent of Africa has a rich history of oral myth and folklore, and I fully support anyone who has a desire to learn about or engage with these stories in the same way as we have with Shakespeare and Tolkien. However, I do not believe that the healthy incorporation of African literature would require us to remove or erase from history the works of authors who happen to be of European descent or have white skin. I don't have all the answers, but I do understand that the development of knowledge is at its core a collaborative effort. In order to learn, we must be willing to share.